So I'm incredibly overwhelmed right now. Appreciate the space to be able to showcase. But I'm originally from New York, so I might say some things that's a little different. It may sound different, but I started off as a painter and a sketch artist. I was a graffiti artist too. So I wasn't doing any of this. And then someone challenged me to pick up a camera. I started doing fashion shows back in New York, and I fell in love with it. I fell in love with being able to hold people for an indefinite amount of time on film. Color was not really my thing. I kind of stuck with black and white no matter how many colors were in my purview. I loved how you strip away the distraction of color and you get to just look at the image and sit with the image and often find yourself in the image when you look at it. So that's my whole point. My whole point right now and how I'm driven to do what I do is I want you to be able to stand in front of the image and actually see yourself, possibly see someone else, see some difference in someone else, and the obstacles that are attached to skin and race and hair and all those things begin to fall away and you get to live in someone else's space. I don't know if you can tell, I pretty much am driven by light. I want the subject to stand out and to show up on their own, but I want the light to actually light them in a way that showcases them at their best. I don't do a lot of retouching. I don't do a lot of that stuff. My stuff is just cleaning up stuff. I really want the subject to stand alone. What's incredible, like right now, is a little bit overwhelming because some of the people that are actually on the wall are in the room, and that's kind of creepy, and weird and beautiful at the same time. So, like my children, who I don't typically show on any format. At the way that I do. If you look at my Instagram, there's like a lot of pictures, and there's very few of my children because I hold them incredibly dear to me. But these pictures showcase a time where I was with them, and we got so like she's 20 years old now. She's not little like this anymore. She's where is she? There she is back there. And that's her brother, one of my sons, Israel, and it showcases a time where the light still stood. The light from back then stood until Ruthie, right here, who's in the house. Your story is your story, and the light just shining on you allows the story to show up. That's all I got.
You completely disassociate light and color, don't you?
Yes. That's weird. Yes. Yes. As a matter of fact, this picture over here was in a room that was lit like this, but I stopped down so much that you couldn't see him. So when the light showed up on him, all you get to see is him. Nothing else. No distractions, no color, no background, no fluorescent lighting. It's beautiful lighting in here, but where I shot him was just fluorescent lighting, and I wanted to erase it. So I know how to erase it. Whether it's digital plane or the medium format or film, that's all. I want to hold all aspects of photography and hold you well. So if you want to shoot, let's shoot.
How long did it take you to get this level?
So I'm not as young as you think I am. So I've been doing this for like 30 years.
Classes or just?
I had a good mentor who was incredible. He could take pictures without a lens on the camera. And he would just do things that just was like, I was like, what are you doing? And I just sat with him. He wouldn't let me touch anything. He let me just carry his bag, but I was like taking notes. I was like, oh, this is incredible. And I fell in love with it through him and through all the other people that were in my life at that time. Great question, thank you.
Sorry, I was clearing my throat, but I still want to ask you a question.
Sure.
The expressions on their faces, how do you capture that? I mean, the shadow is one thing, but how do you catch them in that moment and still have shadow?
Yeah, that's great. That's a great question. The expressions are everything for me. As a matter of fact, you see a lot of eyes being averted. So as a black man, it's just kind of a thing not to look someone in the eye because it's often dangerous. So I actually want to sit in a room and I just want to be a fly on the wall. I don't want you to stare at me like a typical portrait. Sometimes we do. Sometimes I do. But I don't really want that unless I'm safe. I'm safe with my kids. I'll do that. But I really want to be a fly on the wall and just capture what's happening. As a matter of fact, most of the people that I've worked with, we talk about some things in the beginning, give them some, now you see I'm tormented by the flag. So I'll just give you the flag and say some things, we'll talk about it, and let you do your thing. And then I'll shoot. And hopefully we get gold. We always get gold.
So do you direct them toward a specific emotion, or do you just like let them go through a?
We'll talk about it, and whatever you give me is what I'm gonna hold. I'm not gonna take it. We're gonna create it. And I get to hold it, but they get to show up the way that from what we talked about, that's how they show up. So there's no way I could tell her to do that. There's no way. I mean, we could talk a little bit, but that's her, right? That's her also again. And there's just something I can't tell someone to do. She's in the air. I can't tell her to, hey, float. I can't tell her to do that. And so, what I would normally, and I don't do burst shooting, like I don't care about that. I want to take my time, and I want to spend it like a painter, right? I want to spend my time with the process to hopefully get the right stuff. Sometimes a lot of stuff hits the cutting floor, but a lot of times it's gold.
When did you know you were there?
Where?
When did you know you were there? Did you reach the spot?
When it sings to me. Somebody else said something. You said it. You don't know. I think you said it. It was something like you don't know, but then you know. I can't explain it. I can't articulate it well enough to help someone understand. But I would say that when it sings to me. This is in the same room. This was shot in, and it's a whole different. And I use pretty much one light.
So what's the process? So simple, if I capture one of your photos, just for explanation, how many times did you get to shoot one of those photos to be sure that?
Once.
One.
Yeah. So the beautiful thing about digital is, right, so if you take the shot, you get to see it real time, right? You get to see it. Then I don't need to, we took maybe two shots. Two shots.
Amazing.
I'm good. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. In 22 years, you should ride the bike without your hands at some point. That sounds a little arrogant. No, get it twisted. Digital allows us to do some things that we couldn't do with film. But the digital also allows me to control and stop down my activity. I don't have to burst. I can wait. I can be patient. And then I can get that shot. And if I don't get that shot, I take one more. Then we move on. We go for something else. There's no need for her to sit in that and stay there forever, because now we've lost the moment, right? So now we move on to something else. Let's talk about something else. Let's move into a different space now. And if not, I call her back. Or I call him back. Hey, can we shoot that again tomorrow or next month? When we get clear.
Is that a black backdrop or is it a black room?
That's a black wall. So I like the texture in a raw wall. The studio I'm in now, I've duplicated what I've had in a previous studio. I like a black raw wall. Yes.
Aside from pointing out that you're using a lot of lighting in your process, is there any film or any other filmography that kind of inspires your process of how you got there?
Oh,
in terms of picking those shots?
I think that most artists are picking and taking from other artists.
And there is an aesthetic, and I just don't know the background of the journey.
Yep. So when I was coming up and in New York, the galleries, I didn't see many of my people work. So I saw Bruce Weber, I saw Dorothy Lang, I saw Patrick Demarchelier, I saw Herb Ritz, I saw Annie Leibovitz, I saw all these photographers that were doing some incredible things, and I would go into the galleries and be like, oh my gosh, and that's in my head. All of that lighting, all of that staging, all of that production is in my head. That's the fabric, that's my foundation. I used to cut out of high school to go look at the galleries, and that's all I did. I would stand there and just stare at it. So they are my foundation. But then I found Carrie Mae Weems, who's incredible. And I found, I'm sorry, I just threw out a whole bunch of names, so my files are kind of messed up right now. But there's a couple of other photographers that are black photographers that I began to fall in love with, and I began to stack the experiences one on top of the other to get to this place. So all of their lighting, I'm not doing anything new. All their lighting is in my head, but I can't get away from it. I couldn't do anything else. If I did something else, like I took your regular portrait or like a snapshot, I'd probably dump it. Because I want to see it like this all the time. I want to look at you like this all the time. I see all of you like that. Like I'm watching the light hit you on the side of your face right there, and I like that shot. Yes?
What's your relationship to shape? Because each figure is just so the composition is ridiculous.
We'll talk later. You're my daughter. No. So I know triangles work for me. Here's a triangle right here. This is a triangle. And triangles work for me. Triangles work. And I'm kind of stuck in that space. His arm, that's a triangle. I'm stuck in the triangles. They're pretty harmonious. They're pretty strong. They speak to strength. They're actually visually appealing. And so I'm kind of drawn to that. Yeah. So you probably see triangles in most everything that I do, which is weird. I'm sorry, yeah?
Yeah, when you're talking about your journey, how did you start off as a painter?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So when I was in New York, my brother used to sketch these pictures, and I was like, he was trying to draw muscles, and I was like, that's ridiculous. That's not how muscles look. And I would draw it better, and he'd be like, okay, you draw this for me. And I started sketching, and it led to acrylic paint, then it went to watercolor, then it went to gouache, and then went to oil painting. Then I went to Art Students League of New York, and I sketched charcoal and all that stuff there. And I learned art history, and I was a painter, and I was that guy. I was like, and then someone said, "You'll never make money being a painter. Don't you believe it?" And I was like, "All right, I'll try something else."
You just walked away from it, literally.
Well, Picasso said that, and every photographer is a painter. So I'm not really away from it. Actually, my work is painterly. It's just photography. I'm using all of the techniques, the Rembrandt. I'm using all the things that you might find in paintings. I'm just doing it through a different brush.
It's beautiful work.
Yeah.
Very nice.
Thank you. Appreciate that.